there, and welcome to the Flourish Podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I'm so glad that you are here. I am excited that we are now in December. We are moving toward the end of the year and all of the hustle and bustle that comes along with that. So we are going to continue our series on preparing for the new year. We started it back in November, and we went through times of reflection where we spent some time reflecting back on the things that we've created, what things that we have done in this year. And then we started to move a little bit more towards bringing God into the plan as we are looking ahead of what we're wanting to create and inviting him into that process. And so we had a great episode with Evelyn as a guest with us. And so this week I wanted to finish the series and really step into what we are actually planning for 2025. Before we really get into the full rest of this month, I wanted to make sure that you had some time to set aside to set your goals, to look ahead for what you want to create for the next year. And this is a great time to do it. I've done lots of different episodes about preparing for the new year because I think it's so important to do that. But I don't like to look at them as resolutions. I like to look at them as ways that we are moving forward in the things that we want to create. And we get to look at them as stepping stones toward our goals, but not in a way of we do this at the beginning of January and then, it's like a resolution. No, these are ways that we can bring in steps and rhythms so that we can create the things that we want to have in our lives. Welcome to Flourish, the podcast for faith-driven mompreneurs who are ready to release overwhelm, create sustainable, healthy habits, and build purpose-driven businesses aligned with their faith, family, and vision. I'm Stephanie Book, a transformational mindset, wellness, and business coach. I'm here to equip you with the tools, mindset shifts, and encouragement to help you flourish. If you're ready to grow a thriving life and business while staying aligned with your faith, purpose, and priorities, you're in the right place. You are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Let's dive in. Many years ago, I would use the Cultivate Planner. It's definitely one I highly recommend if you want some help planning your goals or looking ahead. And then if you are like to be able to review those goals and have a place all for that, their planners are wonderful for creating goals. One of the things I really loved about it was how they gave you different areas of focus. And because I think that sometimes we look at goals and it becomes overwhelming. I usually recommend that we don't do a ton of goals, but yet I know that we have a lot of different kind of goals that we want to create. But I feel like it helps if we have categories, and that's one thing that I've really appreciated with the way that they were teaching goals. So they had different areas, and I don't think I'm going to remember every single one off the top of my head, but I think that does help me. It helps my brain to be like, okay, what are one to two, maybe three, the most goals like in each area of my life that I want to create. Why do I want to create them? So it's not just amount of read 52 books in a year. Okay, that's great. But if we are not reading anything right now, we want to make sure that we're choosing goals that are going to fit who we are and the steps we want to create. Why is it important for you to read 52 books in a year? If it is because you just want to check it off the list, it may not keep you very motivated. It may not inspire you to move toward those things, but maybe you have a really big way that you want to learn, you want to grow, or you want to read those books so that you can expand your mind, so that you can have more to talk about in a situation or whatever, right? Whatever that reason is, that will make a difference. It gives a meaning behind it. So as you're looking at your different goals, we're going to talk about the different categories that you can create goals in. We're going to look at not just writing down those goals, but looking at, why it is that we want to create those goals, what's important about that goal, what would the outcome be if you were to create that goal. So we're looking at those things, and then we're going to look at at least one action step that we can take, that we can plan, that we can set a rhythm for to create for the new year, so that we can make sure that that's implemented into our life. Because if we put these goals down but we don't have that plan in order to execute them, then they're just going to be a bunch of wishes or resolutions that we put down. And so I'm hoping by the end of today you'll be able to feel a little bit more ready to write down those goals, and you don't have to do them all right now. You can take some time. You can take some time to invite the Lord into them and pray about them, making sure that they are the right goals for you. And you know what? Also, and as we talked about on the reflection weeks, you don't always finish all the goals, and that's okay too. I remember hearing one time John Acuff was talking on his All It Takes Is a Goal podcast, and he was talking about he writes a lot of goals, but then he realizes, and as he evaluates, as he reviews, which we talk about on here a lot too, we realize like, you know what, I haven't done anything towards that goal. And so, it's okay to table it too if it's just not the right goal for you right now. Maybe it's not the right focus. And so these are not written in blood, so to speak. These are good ideas, and a lot of times what we plan the year before isn't always how the year maps out for us. Maybe there's a twist and churn. Like I have a friend who they had a plan to maybe move in a couple years, and then all of a sudden it expedited and they moved already before the year was out. So sometimes we don't know different things that are going to shift and change in our lives, and so we want to have some of that grace as we are looking at them. All right, so the first area that I would love for to do is to look at those top quality, those top areas that you want to focus on for your goals. Popular ones would be like your health and wellness. What the goals there? Maybe family relationships, your spiritual goals, maybe your business goals, maybe it's goals around your hobby or your lifestyle. Maybe there's your wellness goals, but maybe that's for your physical body, for like how you're taking care of it. But maybe you have some exercise goals. Maybe you have those areas where you want to make sure that you are doing different routines to take care of your body, or maybe that falls all together in your wellness goals. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I should have got my little book out so I could show them all. But you get the idea, right? We have those different areas, those pillars, those things that are most important to us that make up who we are in our lives. And I would say I would write down those pillars, those areas of your life, first of all, that are important to you. And then you can start writing some small actionable goals that go with those different areas of your life that make up you as a person. So, there's a lot of goals that we could create. We have a really big things that we want to create sometimes in our lives. But I think that this order, it gives us, first of all, we don't put too many things on our plate. We don't give ourselves too many expectations of what's ahead. But we also gives us, some organization and some flow and looking at those things so that we can be fully prepared for it. Let's say we are looking at these different goals. And we have, I don't think I mentioned before, we have personal goals. Maybe that's like personal development. Maybe that's personal goals of maybe your personal goals is maybe about wanting to expand your mind by reading such and such amount of books by a certain amount of time. Maybe a personal goal is going out of your comfort zone and joining a club that is in your area that helps you learn a new skill, but also gets you around other people. Maybe a personal goal would be, maybe expanding your mind and learning something new, stepping into a new skill, or taking a course online or something like that, right? So what are those personal goals? What are those things that you personally you want to work on yourself to move you toward what you want to create in your life and who you want to become, who God has created you to be? And so once you have those goals, so let's say you wanted to learn a new skill. Okay, great. Let's come up with, what's a skill? Maybe you don't know what skill it is, but you want to do that. So maybe you would give yourself a little bit of, okay, why do I want to learn that new skill? Because I want to be able to participate more in a conversation that maybe you're in. Maybe you want to learn a new skill because you just want to add to your toolbox of things that you know how to do. It could be as simple as, I want to learn how to make sourdough bread, right? That's been, it's kind of gone its ebb and flow, and it was really, really big for a while. And people are still really making sourdough, and I went on that journey, and I still enjoy doing it as well and learning how to continue to grow in that area. And so maybe that is something that you want to do. So why is that important to you? Maybe you want to do that because you want to be able to be more sustainable and be able to make food for your family. Maybe it's because you just want to expand your mind and be able to show yourself that you can learn new things, right? Why is that important to you? That makes a big difference when you're choosing those goals, because then there's more connection to what you're creating, okay? And then you can start looking at what are the ways that you would, what parameters would you put around those goals so that you could see the difference in that goal? What will show that you reach that goal? And so maybe you're wanting to create sourdough, learn how to make sourdough bread. So maybe your goals are like to learn how to make, to learn how to practice and then create. So maybe you're wanting to first do some research, learn about it, look about, maybe are you wanting to start your sourdough from scratch? Are you wanting to maybe need to do some research and learn about it? So maybe you're spending the first quarter of the year or first third of the year learning how, and maybe a little bit of trial and error, maybe starting your starter, I don't know, different things. And then maybe then the next one is practicing it. So that you've done a lot of learning, and now you're in that stage of your learning, you're practicing, you're wanting to be able to create more things. And then maybe the next part of your goal is to be able to share with other people about how your process of how you learned and what you're learning. I don't know. That's just kind of a vague example, but that helps you because it gives you those milestones. It says, okay, I want to create, let's say, let's go back to the books because it's just easier to break it down. So let's say you want to read, let's say just 12 books this year. And so just to make it easy, so 12 books in a year. Maybe you're doing that because you want to expand, you want to learn more, you want to make sure you're keeping your mind active, you want to be able to contribute in conversations. Maybe you want to read 12 books that are in personal development. Maybe you spend a lot of time learning and growing all of the time, and you want to spend some time reading some fiction so that you're bringing in some creativity and fun, whatever the reason is. Then you map out, okay, there's 12 months in a year and I want to read 12 books. Well, what does that mean? Okay, well, that's one book a month. So maybe then you can map out, okay, what books do we want to read? Or maybe you don't have that, you're not going to plan all the books right now, but then you'll know, okay, that's about how many books, that's maybe how many each book has, maybe it has 12 chapters. I don't know. So then you'd be like, okay, then I'm going to need to read 3 chapters a week to keep me on track. So I know that gets tedious, and some of that we'll do as you pick your books and as you move into the year. But that also helps with your goals. So you give yourself milestones. You give yourself some places that you can help track your goal, and so that you can stay on track, so you can see where you're going. So when you're planning your goals, try to think about that as well. You're not going to, like I said, you may not know all 12 books you're going to read in the year. That's fine. But you'll know the rhythm that you want to create for yourself. And so you'll be able to put that into your, you don't have to plan out all of those things, but keep that in mind as you're doing your goals so that you know you have the capacity to do the things that you're putting on your list. Because I don't know about you, but I can become really ambitious when I'm writing my goals. I'm thinking of all the different things I want to do, and I get super excited because there's so many things I want to learn and do and grow, and that's great. But sometimes it might take writing them all down, but then narrowing down to those 2 to 3 goals that are going to actually fit your life, so that you're not feeling overwhelmed with all of the things that you want to do, but you're able to focus on those few things. And I think that I talk a lot about that clarity. I'm making sure that you're choosing the one thing that you want to create, and then you're finding the rhythm around that, and then you're doing the action steps around that as well. And so when you're looking at your goals, keeping that in mind really will help you. It'll help you focus on what it is you're wanting to do, so that you can make the time in this space for it. So as you walk through your goals, as you're looking across the different categories that you want to focus on, the different pillars, the things that are most important to you, that make up your life, that make up you, then you can do it several different ways. And maybe some goals, like maybe your personal goal, you only have one, that you want to read those 12 books. You don't have to do 2 or 3 per category either. I just want to give you some grace about that too. Sometimes we try to put all of our goals into a box. We want to match up what everybody says to do. And sometimes we need to give ourselves grace. We need to look overall at our lives and look at the things we want to create and why those are important. And if there are things on your list that you want to do, but there's not a good why behind it, if there's not that deep connection to what it's going to provide for you, what it's going to do for you as you move forward, then it might be something just to keep on the list, like a long list of things that maybe you'd like to do at some point, but maybe they're not the goals that you want to focus on for the next year. I think that one thing I want to remind you is that not to overload yourself. I think some of us, we put a lot, I'm speaking about me, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to show up a certain way, to do all the things in a certain way. And honestly, I think the more grace we give ourselves, the better. The less that we focus on, the better. So an example, I started a new workout program, and I've always used videos for the most part. I don't go to a gym. I don't really have a specific trainer that I work with, but I was trying an app with a girl that I know that started her own fitness app. And I went through, and then there was a rhythm into that training. Now, those of you that do strength training, you're used to this, but for me, I've always had someone that guided me along, and I didn't know exactly how long. A lot of the times I would do the workouts, and we would do, 45 seconds of work, 15-second rest, and we would go on and on and on. It was a very fast-paced kind of thing. And then the strength training ones were a little bit different, but similar. Or there was a long rest, but I didn't know how long we were resting. And this app, it had me, so I would do an exercise, and I wasn't doing it right at first, so I was waiting, but I wasn't waiting very long. I realized how to use it, and every time I completed the one rep of like my lunges or something that I was doing, then I clicked it, and it had a minute and a half of rest. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is a long time. Like, what do I do for a minute and a half? Because I wasn't used to it. It took way longer to do my workout than normal because I was learning a new rhythm. But I was thinking about that as how quickly we want to rush on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing in our lives. And sometimes our body needs that chance to catch up. Sometimes it's not go, 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 but sometimes it's do some things, take a pause, breathe, reflect, allow our bodies or our minds or our hearts to catch up. And then we step in and do the next action. And I feel like I am always on the go. I'm always looking for the next thing, and always quick to look at the next shiny object to move toward. But sometimes walking through that rhythm and that system of those goals is something that actually you need to pause part of it. So I think probably one of the goals that I want to create for myself, a personal goal as I move into this next year, is making sure that I am allowing seasons of rest, not only in maybe as I'm doing in business and I'm doing a big launch, not stopping all work, but not quitting and being like, I'm not doing anything for 2 weeks. No, but finding that time of separation to stop, to celebrate the things that I've been able to accomplish, set back, maybe close that computer and enjoy the weekend with my family, and then step back into the things that I want to create. Finding the balance and rhythm, giving myself some time to breathe and rest, even though I find myself filled with tasks and things to do. Allowing myself to have that rest is going to make me stronger. It's going to allow me to show up better. And I talk about that a lot, of how we want to fill up our cup. And I want to make sure that I'm practicing that as well. And so that's important because one, it's going to be good for me. It's going to be good for my body, for my wellness. It's going to help me show up for the people I care about more. So, because I'll be able to have the mental capacity for them, I will feel more present with them because I'm not trying to go on to the next thing before this one thing is even done. And then it will also allow me to be more productive. So there's a why behind that rhythm, taking that time, that rest has a deep meaning. And then I will look into that. How can I implement this into my life? Is it maybe making sure that I spend the majority of the weekend not on my computer, if that's what it is? I don't know if that would be what I would choose, but what can I do? Is it maybe making sure that on Wednesdays when I spend time with my mom, other than my quick morning, couple check-in things, maybe the rest of Wednesday is just for her and for the other things in my life, and just let it be that way, and not put so much pressure. Maybe that's a rhythm I need to set in. And I don't know, I'm just talking off the top of my head right now, but I want you to really think about that when you're creating those rhythms, when you're creating those goals that are coming ahead for you, that you are really intentionally looking at the things you want to create. It's not so much about all of the things you want to get done, but more about intentionality and what is going to be best for you in your season right now. So I hope that this was helpful. I think I covered all of the areas that I said I was going to cover in the beginning, but I love talking about goals. And so I feel like that's something I could talk about all of the time, because I know that when I first of all, when I go into a goal and I've seen myself step in action toward it, whether I've created it or not, I love to be able to celebrate and see what I've done. And one of the reasons I can do that is because I take the time to plan. I take time to look at them and actually write down what I want to create, because that's important. Making that declaration, it's kind of like saying to yourself, this is the things I want to work on. And then being connected to why, deeply rooted to what difference it's going to make in my life. That makes a huge difference for me as well, because then I am really motivated. I'm not just motivated, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the things that it's going to create for me or the people around me, the people I want to serve. And then having the steps set out, the little plan, so to speak, the ways that rhythm that I can create around those things so that they can get completed, that makes me feel freer. So I'm not feeling pressured to hurry up and get them all done, but ones that are flowing in my life and allow me to bring in those new skills at the pace that's going to be best for my season, and not ones to compare or try to pressure, but more ones that are going to make a difference in my life. So I hope that rhythm, that approach of looking at your goals will help you as you look towards 2026. Friends, I hope that you do spend some time doing that. If you haven't checked out the other episodes where we went back and reflected and then invited God into the season of where you're going and what you want to create, and then stepping in with this format of setting your goals, I highly encourage you to try it out. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. You can message me on Instagram at steph.book, or anywhere on social media you can find me. Of course, you can reply to this podcast as well. But I just want to be able to know that you have some support here. You don't have to do these alone. If you've never written goals before, let's jump on a call, like a clarity call. I love being able to help women create that rhythm, and I have some coaching opportunities open up right now for a 90-day coaching where we can walk through and help you find that clarity and purpose, that you don't have to feel stuck or scattered or insecure, that we can walk together and help you, first of all, see how valuable you are and that you are worthy of success. But then also, what can you do next? How can I bring rhythms into my life? These are the things I want to create, or I don't even know what it is I want to create, but I know I want something different. We could spend some time together and create that for you, because I guess I think about it. We have one life and we get to live it the way that we choose to do that. And I want to make sure that I'm showing up and living my life in a way that honors God, to serve the people that He wants me to serve. And I know that sometimes as I've stepped in to ask for help, it has made a difference for me. And so I want to offer that for you as well. So friends, thank you for listening. And please remember, as always, that you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Take care. Thank you for joining me on Flourish. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired and equipped to take your next step with confidence. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs this encouragement. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at steph.book and join our Facebook community of faith-driven women who are ready to flourish. Make sure to check out the show notes for all the ways we can connect and continue this journey of growth together. My friends, remember, you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Take care.